Good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're talking about everything having to do with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and his beautiful wife, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. I am still in bed. And you know what? I did not sleep. I've been up since 3. It's now maybe 6, maybe, or 5. I don't know. But I didn't sleep because I crashed the computer yesterday and I lost very important things. And I'm sick about it. I don't know what to do. I can't even think straight. So I've been in a state all night, and then since 3, I've been up. But now I have to get up and talk about Meghan and Harry. Okay, so I was trying to find some news, and I came across this international news. I don't think this is a very, very reliable website as far as being, scooping anything. But apparently they're saying that Meghan and Harry are pregnant and that they would announce this on Valentine's Day. Now, today is what, the 20th of Feb, and I don't know. Have you heard anything about a third baby? Although that would be so cute, wouldn't it? I think they should have tons of babies. I think they should just fill their house with babies. How many bedrooms do they have? They have 7 bedrooms. Just have 7 kids. That would be so cute. And you can adopt some, and you being they, and maybe even adopt a couple of babies and, maybe have a surrogate I don't think they could have a surrogate carry a baby because it would just be too complicated because of who they are. Oops, unfortunately. So, but they could adopt a couple of babies, just have a house filled with babies, and having a big family. If you have the resources, I don't think you should go about having a big family if you don't have the resources. But if you have the resources, why not? Why not have a big family? And I think big families are more fun later, not necessarily, although I don't know, maybe for the parents, when they're little, they might be cute. I don't know how my parents felt about us. I think my parents enjoyed us actually. But I think we became more complicated when we got older. So I don't know what I'm talking about here. But so where is the picture now? So yeah, anyway, I didn't hear anything about a third baby, so I don't know if you've heard anything. So then there's Samantha. I said I wouldn't talk too much about her, but I feel like, Samantha. I don't understand people like Samantha. Honestly, I really don't. I mean, I think that I my views on life are not necessarily realistic all the time. You know what I mean? I can be very la la land, and I can be very yeah. I've always had a way of finding humor in almost anything, almost being the operative word, because even I have my limits. But so Samantha, what can we do about Samantha? How do you solve a problem like Samantha? Samantha's a problem. And you know what? As I said, the other day I dreamt about her. As I said, and I shared that in one of my recent videos. and she was smiling in my dream. And then she left Megan in this tattered t-shirt. Croissant, Pluton. And so she left Megan in the tattered t-shirt. And I'm just like, oh my God, what can we do about this situation? You can see her resemblance to Megan in this picture. And she's very beautiful in her own way. I mean, I think she looks a lot older than she has to look, but it's not fair for me to say that because, I mean, she's not that much older than I am, but then I feel like she's like way older. You know what I mean? In a way. That's enough about me. Okay, so Samantha and Meghan, what can we do? So yes, I said I dreamt about her the other day, and she was smiling, and she and Meghan had a talk, and I don't know what happened in the talk. When I came back, Meghan was in this tattered T-shirt. Um, but in retrospect, I tend to be like my own Sunday afternoon quarterback. Um, I I wonder whether the dream means that there's hope. Like maybe Samantha is not as unreachable as I would be inclined to think she is. Like, I mean, just looking at her and having heard her speak a couple of times, etc., etc., I'm not gonna lie, I'm afraid of her. Like I would be scared, like just in her presence. When I say scared, let me put that in the right context. I mean, if I had to fight her, I'd fight her like an animal. But I in my normal state, in a room with her, I think I'd be kind of like uncomfortable and scared. But then I started to think, well, maybe that's wrong-headed. Maybe it's not the way I think it is. And maybe, you know, even Samantha can be reached. And even this relationship with Samantha and Meghan can be fixed. Because, when I sort of think about it just from my own perspective as a human person, my own relationships, with my siblings and so on, I think, well, maybe, sibling relationships can be very complicated. And as I said, Samantha has some deep, deep resentments towards Meghan. And some of it maybe, is not so unrealistic in the sense that, she just watched her father doting on her younger sister. And yeah, I mean, she's 17 years older than Meghan, but 17 years old. I mean, what was I at 17? I was still capable of being jealous, if I felt like my parents were not being fair with the children, Um, but I can't justify or make excuses for her behavior, and I'm not doing that. I'm not making excuses. I think that the way she chose to handle this is really deplorable. But I also think that I wonder more than think. I wonder whether she can be reached because in my dream, Megan agreed to talk with her. And I wonder whether that means my mother always said that I'm an old witch, because I can dream things and just like, you know what I mean? And so I wonder whether the dream means that these two women can speak. They can actually speak. They can find a way to talk. And as someone with younger sisters and an older sister, I mean, I've had two different types of relationships. I've been in the role of an older sister, and I'm sure that my sisters will say that I wasn't a perfect older sister. So, I would never ever hold myself out as that. But um, I know how much I struggle to feel loved by my older sister. And so when I look at Samantha, I can understand sort of how Meghan must have felt, at least at some point in her life, until she just gave up on it. She gave up on the relationship. And I don't think, the older sisters always understand, how much the younger sister just wants them to love them and just accept them as they are. I don't know, I'm rambling, but I think, what I thought is, like, this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I've been awake because I have a very big problem with my computer. It kind of crashed. Well, crashed may be a big word, but I had to, I was advised to delete some stuff because the memory, it said no memory. I could, it wasn't working. I was like, something's wrong with my computer. It has malware. It's just not working properly. And I was advised to delete some things, or I always, this person who was helping me said, well, should I just delete this? And I'm like, yeah. And it was like we hit delete, and it's like all my downloads. And some of this was important stuff from my work, which cannot be retrieved. And so I've been very, very, very sick about this all night. So I didn't sleep. So I was up, and then I thought about Samantha and Meghan. And I said to myself, what if they talked for the first time in their lives? They just agreed to talk, just the two of them alone. Could they have a breakthrough, with certain things? Because, I mean, Samantha has to be more reasonable. I mean, Meghan is the child. When I say she's a child, they're both sisters, and they're on that same level in that status as sisters. They have a father, a parent in common. And so Samantha is not Meghan's parent, and I don't expect her to have to assume a role of parent just because she's 17 years older. They're equal in their sisterhood. But Samantha has to understand that, blaming Meghan for all her problems is completely insane, and it's unrealistic, and it's unfair. you know, and putting certain burdens on Meghan just because Meghan has more money is also unfair. And it's not about all those other issues. It's about sibling rivalry. It's about how she perceives their dad treated her versus Meghan. And she has to understand a lot of that had to do with the age of her father when he had her, and where he was in his life and in his career and in his finances and his resources. And, the way she perceives that is something that she has to work on. Now, could Meghan potentially be more sensitive to Samantha's situation? Maybe, maybe, I don't know. But I see the two of them on the cover of Vogue magazine, and it just would be epic. It just would be epic. And they're talking about the hard work that they are doing, probably for the rest of their lives, of repairing this relationship, or even creating a relationship as sisters that was never created. There clearly isn't a bond here that was formed. And whose fault that is, I have no idea. And at this point, I'm not even interested, right? I'm not interested in casting stones. I'm not interested in blaming anybody. I'm interested in creating something, right? Rather than trying to destroy your sister, Samantha. How about trying to create a relationship with her, and the two of you working together on that relationship, which is going to be really, really difficult, but which can be done. It can be done. And guess what, Samantha? If you are willing to do that, And then behind that is the relationship with your children. You see? Because there's a whole different way to use your platform as the sister of this young woman, Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex. You can use your platform in a totally different way from how you've been using it. And actually help other people, other families, because you would be surprised that so many other families are completely dysfunctional and so many other families have relationships that have been destroyed. And what a good story that would be. But first you're going to have to drop that lawsuit, Samantha. Because if I were Meghan, I would fight you like an animal on this, like an animal. Because I don't think you have a valid complaint here for defamation. It's BS. And any judge or anybody who says you win that case is full of it. And this is not what this is about. You don't care about the money. This is about you wanting to be validated, but going about it in such an awful way. Right? Why don't you call your sister? She will talk with you. She's very upset, but she will talk with you. And do it privately. Do a non-disclosure agreement. And stop, Samantha. Just stop.